Hey guys, Tracy Taylor here from Taylor Made Transformations. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about boundaries. Having healthy boundaries or knowing what your boundaries are very, very important. Sometimes your boundaries will change over the period of your life and as you grow and as you change. But it's very important to have boundaries and then actually keep them. I know myself included, I had boundaries, but I let people cross them. So really I didn't have boundaries. And it's very hard at times, especially when you get close to somebody or you feel a lot for that person, to let that person cross your boundaries. And then you don't have a boundary anymore. And once that person has crossed that boundary once, it gets a little easier every time. And the thing about it is if you have to tell somebody over and over again not to do something, that's a clear sign that they do not respect you. And all great relationships, whether they're friendships, whatever, are built based on respect. Unless each party respects one another, it's not ever really a good foundation to build anything on. There must be mutual respect for the other person. And part of respecting somebody is respecting their boundaries. We all have different boundaries. We all feel differently about certain things. And as you get to know someone, you really know what those boundaries are. And if you have a respect for them, you try very hard not to cross that boundary. So it's important, and what I have a lot of my clients do, and I've done myself, is that I sit down and have my clients sit down and really take a hard look at things that are very important to them. What I call deal breakers. If someone did or said or what to you, what would make you end the relationship in theory? This would be like a hypothetical. And then we would write those things down. Then you have a framework for what your boundaries are. We were all raised differently, so what is a deal breaker for me may not be a deal breaker for you. So it's very important to know what your boundaries are, and not kind of make them up as you go. It's important to have those laid out and know what they are. And then as you meet people and you come into contact with people and you begin to let people closer and you have those boundaries in place, then you know when someone steps that line on the boundary. Generally, I say if someone steps the line once, you obviously tell that person, hey, look, I'm really not comfortable with this type of behavior, the way you talk to me, etc. And if it happens again, we're not gonna have a friendship, relationship, whatever. It's kind of one of those, honestly, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, because the problem is if someone does it, usually again, they're just somebody who is really going to keep trying to step the line of those boundaries to see how far they can get. And then the closer somebody gets to you, you generally have a tendency to lax on the boundary at times. And so it's really just best to make a promise to yourself after you've wrote your boundaries down that if a person breaks this boundary more than one time, after I've explicitly asked them or told them how important something is to me, they don't respect you. And really, it's time to move on. This is where I was talking about our letting go in the last video. This is where, when you really start to become healthier and really want to make changes in your life and realize that only you are responsible to make those changes, this is where this comes in. And where letting go of people becomes a bit easier, because you have the boundary in place. The boundary was broken more than once, and then you sever the relationship. Because truth be told, if that person really wants to be in your life, they'll make the changes, they'll do what needs to be done, and they'll come back. No one that's meant to be in our life does not come back and having worked on themselves. But you can only do your work. And your work requires knowing what your boundaries are and sticking to them. And then making the changes on the people that do not honor your boundaries. And you can only be responsible for you. You can't be responsible for anybody else. So I hope that helps explain boundaries a little bit better. And take a moment to like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. I would really super appreciate it. Have a great night, guys.